All information in this program is known to be accurate at the time of recording. Any commentary by the host is for discussion purposes only. Anyone labeled a person of interest by the host or family has not been charged with a crime. All suspects charged with crimes related or unrelated to a case covered are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Opinions and views expressed by the host do not represent views of the families or sponsors of this program. Hi, welcome to this edition of Grimm Media News. I'm your host, Steve Stone. Let's get right into this video. We have a couple of cases that we're going to be covering on the Grimm Truth Podcast that we want to bring your attention to now. But before we do that, we've got two cases that we really need your help on, and let's just get into it. The first one is going to be Summer Wells. She's from Hawkins County, Tennessee. I don't have all of the particulars on this. This was shared to me, and I just want to be helpful and get her face out, get her picture out there. Her father did do an interview, and I will put a link in that description below. This little girl just needs to come home to her family. I'm still working on getting the information. I just felt that it couldn't wait for me to get all of the information, and I wanted to get her name and her photo out there. Summer Wells, she went missing on the 15th. We do know that the father or the parents' house was searched around the area, and they came up with nothing. And we just need your all's help in bringing Summer home. And I will bring updated information as I can on who to call law enforcement so far. I do believe the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is heading up the investigation, but I'm not 100% on that. But again, if you have any information, please reach out to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We need to bring this little girl home, and little girls, little children in general don't need to vanish without a trace. We do know that kids have a tendency to walk off, and that happens many times. But irregardless of how it happened, this little girl is the vulnerable of the vulnerable, and we need to make sure that we can do everything we can to bring her home. The next case is another case that is just happened within 24 hours, and that is Savannah Jane Sanderson from Marks, Mississippi. She's 16 years of age, 5'7", 130 pounds. She has a facial scar on her right cheek, wearing a brown shirt with flowers, black leggings or tights, and tie-dye Crocs. I just spoke with the mother before recording this episode. I want to say that yesterday the law enforcement, according to Mom, was not really involved because they believe that Savannah is a runaway. I've said this time and time again, it shouldn't matter whether they're a runaway or not. They're missing, they're not where they should be, and this is one of those cases. Now, it has been told to me by Mom that they believe she is in the company of an older gentleman from Oklahoma, and now the law enforcement is starting to take this a little more serious and treat it credible, and they're in the process of doing a search and looking for her. Now, there was another witness who came forward anonymously, and that is totally their prerogative, and we respect that, who believed they saw Savannah at a restaurant in the Cleveland, Mississippi area. Definitely matched Savannah's description, and that information was also given to Mom. And we just want everybody that can share this to share it. We need to locate this young girl. Again, they're vulnerable. We don't know who this guy is. We don't know how long she knew him. But and if she is with a man that's much older or an adult, that's just that's not the way to go, and we need to make sure that we can get her safe. So if you've seen Savannah, please make sure you contact that number It's 662-351-5450, and that's her mom's cell phone. And the reason why we did it at the time, law enforcement wasn't taking this as seriously, that we'd have that information. As soon as we get that information, we will update it for you. In the meantime, you can call Mom there, or you can email me, stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. Again, that's stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. Sometimes these cases, people will reach out for help, and we don't want to wait for particulars. We want to get the information out there. It's easy for me to come on and update it or put it out there. We can update it at the right time, but we just need to get these images out there. The most important thing is to get their faces out there. I have contact with the family. Been speaking with them since last night, yesterday afternoon. And we want to make sure that everything is done to facilitate bringing Savannah home. And so sometimes we might not have all the information right away, but we will get it to you. But it's more important that we get their faces out there, so that if anybody can see them, if they are in danger, they can contact 911 and get them help. This next case that we're going to talk about, we will be covering on the Grimm Truth Podcast in the coming weeks, and that is Jose Ramon Nava. Jose went missing on February 28th, 2021. He's 21 years of age, 5'5", about 190 pounds. He does have a tattoo. He has several of them. Chinese letters on the left side of his neck, and a tattoo on his upper right arm. Jose was driving a vehicle. It was a white in color SUV. That was found on Interstate 22 on March the 3rd, 2021, in Marshall County. Now, the family has possession of that vehicle. It was searched to the extent it was looked at for evidence of, minor things, nothing major. I don't think any trace evidence was taken and the like, but this family needs your help. This is not like Jose to just take off and disappear. His sisters are very, very worried, and I've spoken to both of them, and we are going to do everything we can to help get his information out there. Again, we'll be covering his case profile on the podcast here in the coming weeks. But if you have any information in the meantime of Jose Ramon Nava, please contact the Sheriff's Office at 662-489-3111. Again, that's 662-489-3111. And again, you can remain anonymous if you need to. We just need to bring Jose home. If you would like to discuss his case or any of these cases also, please feel free to email me, stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com, or you can message me at The Grimm Truth on Facebook Messenger. My next case is one that, of course, we've covered before on many occasions, and that is going to be of Joseph Little Joe Bain, Marshall, Texas. We covered his episode on the podcast. We've done several stories on him on YouTube, and we're still digging into this case. We're actually going to get back into it a little bit. One thing that his sister mentioned on social media that I thought would be a good idea to mention here too is it is believed that there was a young woman who Joe was seeing right before he went missing, who may have been pregnant at the time, and was either with Joe or was seeing Joe. And we would love to have that individual come forward and speak to Jolene, if you feel comfortable doing so. This case is well over 20 years old. There is a $10,000 reward for information on Joe. And, we've talked about this before. He was living with his buddy Coley, and he gets a call and leaves. You can listen to the podcast. That'll also be in the link in the description below. Look, it's time. Again, we're going to start working on this case some more. We're going to start talking about it. There are people that have been named in this case as far as people of interest, or and not by the police, mind you, but by people that have looked at this outside of law enforcement. And really, unfortunately, I don't think much has been done with law enforcement to look at this case. And so we need your help. So if anybody has any information on Joseph Littlejohn Baines case, Marshall, Texas, contact the Marshall PD at 903-935-4540. You can email me also. Again, that's stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. We need to find information. If anybody knew or spoke to Joe the day of the 25th or the 24th, 2001, we need your help. Please, you can remain anonymous. We want some information. I mean, his family has gone through enough. Again, 20 plus years of not knowing where your loved one is. And I mean, what do you say? I mean, we need people to come forward. We need people to say what they know. And I believe that there are people out there that do, and we need you to come forward. I believe Jolene, Joe's sister, deserves that much. They've been through enough, and it's time to get the answers that this family needs. So again, there's a $10,000 reward information leading to the whereabouts or information of what may have happened to Joe. And again, you can contact the Marshall PD 903-935-4540. Our next case. This is another case that we have not covered yet, but we will be covering in a couple of weeks, and that's Heather Wall. Heather went missing. Thing about Heather is Heather has an illness that it may seem like she's under the influence of something, but it's actually not the case. It's an illness that, where you might not know where you're at, or you might get shaky, and that was the case with Heather. And the family has questions, like all families do, and they need answers. And we believe that somebody that either was talking to Heather at the time of her disappearance might know something. And again, that's why we need your help. They lost contact with her around December 2020, and it was in the Fort Smith area. She was getting a disability check. She had money, but she has an illness that it may seem like she's under the influence of something, and she's not. And it's called Huntington's disease, I believe. And the family needs answers, and we're trying to do whatever we can to get those answers. Heather needs you. The family needs you. We need to find her. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Heather Wall, all my Arkansas friends, please share. Please contact the Fort Smith Police Department, 479-709-5000. Again, that's 479-709-5000. Or, as always, email me, stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. Heather, like so many others, there's always assumptions that, this person is either using drugs or, and that might not be the case. But you don't know what a person's going through unless you walk a mile in their shoes. That can go with the missing and the family, for that matter. And this is one of those cases. So, Heather, and we're going to be covering this extensively in the podcast, she had an illness that, if left untreated, would look like she might have been drinking or using narcotics, and that wasn't the case here. So, please, we're just asking if you can, just help us out with Heather's case. She has a family that loves her and just wants answers. And you can help with that. Our next case is a case that I have covered extensively on the podcast, extensively on my YouTube channel, extensively on Facebook, and that's Chris Sanders. There is a $1,000 reward for information leading about the whereabouts of Chris Sanders, or somebody that knows something about Chris Sanders. What can I tell you about this? I mean, I've worked on Chris's case since the very beginning, since January. And I have talked to almost everybody in his case. I've talked to his wife. I've talked to his mom. I've talked to neighbors. I've talked to his uncle. I've talked to anybody. The one person I haven't been able to talk to is Cody. Cody Penny. I don't, at this point, my opinion is that you're either hiding something or you don't care. And I have been doing everything. The one person that hasn't been doing anything is, or people, or Monahan's PD. They have not done anything. They haven't looked for Chris. They haven't done jack squat. Nothing. And getting back to Cody was working with Chris. They're supposed to be buds. They were brothers. They were cousins. They're family. And Cody, I know for a fact, Cody has answers. Cody has a lot of answers. He has answers to almost all the questions, and to fill in the blank kind, and he can answer them. It's just, why won't he? And you're either not answering them because you don't want to answer them, or because you don't care, or you're hiding something. I'm begging you, man to man, Cody Penny, please call me. I have 5 questions. 5 simple questions. And they're easy to answer. They're not gotcha questions. They're not putting you on the spot questions. They're 5 questions. They're 5 questions that I want to ask you directly. And I'm not going to do it here because this isn't the time to do that. I want you to be able to, man to man, get on the phone. Your mom has asked you to. Your aunt has asked you to. I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. Everybody's asked you to stand up and do the right thing. I don't know what you got to be afraid of. I don't know what you. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I called out Chris's wife because she wasn't talking to me. She talked to me. Now, whether anything she said was true or not, that's not up to me. That's up to the listeners. That's up to everybody. Now, I have a problem with certain things. She at least spoke to me. And I need you to speak to me, Cody. I need you to speak to me. It's 5 questions, man. It's 5 questions, and you're on your way. But I'm going to tell you what I do know. I know for a fact that there was some contact between you and Angela on days before Chris went missing. What was there to talk about? And there was a lot of communication between you and Angela after Chris went missing. Now, according to Angela, that's your fault. You were the sole person responsible for her actions, according to her. You were telling her everything was fine. She didn't need to come up right away. Chris is being Chris. He'll be back. And according to her, you're the reason why she didn't make it up there right away. So, I mean, if you would like to defend yourself, I think that's a good idea. I think that you should, and I think that, I don't need you to go on air. I don't need you to go on the record. I just need your answers. Everything else I can work on myself, but, it's just the way things have to be as far as you coming forward and just saying, hey, this is what I know, and move on. I mean, what do you have to lose? Nothing, unless you're hiding something, or unless you don't care. At least be honest about your feelings. You can say, I don't care, not my problem. At least we knew where you stood. But you're not saying anything. You're just calling people names, cussing at them, and acting a fool instead of coming forward. Well, that's up to you. But the ball is in your court, sir. It was funny. I wanted to go, oh, Cody, where art thou? I know you and Chris aren't brothers, but your family. I mean, he treated you like a brother. And everybody I've talked to, Chris was a loving, caring individual, just trying to live his best life. And his kids have graduated, and he's missed all that. And I highly doubt Chris would have missed all that, just because he wanted to go for a walk. So if anybody has any information on Christopher Sanders, please contact the Moynihan's Police Department. Contact them, and contact them often. 432-943-3254. And tell them you want Christopher Sanders found, and that someone needs to be looking for him, and that his case needs to be looked into. And I know this is supposed to be news and information, but as an advocate for missing persons and as someone that cares, at some point enough is enough. These people that go missing do not go missing because they're adults. I've heard that story, and if you look at the statistics, I'm sure that you will find that people that go missing and that are just missing because they wanted to be are few and far between than people actually either missing or succumb to foul play or some other circumstance beyond their control, and that's why they went missing. So I think that these cases that aren't getting pushed need to be pushed, and it takes a village, and we have an army behind us. We have Grimm Guardians, I call you guys, the followers, the ones that are really passionate like me about these cases. I think we should call the police. I think we should call these agencies and go, what are you doing? We need to put them on notice that nothing's being done for these cases. There's a lot of cases just like Chris's that aren't enough's being done. Speaking of enough being done, I'm happy to report that the case of Andrew DeWesse is now an active investigation. I'm very happy. I'm after all that this case has, the roads we've been down with this case, with the talking to people. I don't pretend to say that I'm this grand investigator, grand inquisitor, but the difference between what I do and what other people do is all you have to do is listen. All you have to do is be compassionate. All you have to do is show that you care. And relating to people on that level, it works. It helps. Treating everybody. Listen, if you have a meth problem or a drug problem or an alcohol problem, you're still a human being. Okay? You're a human being, and it goes without saying that no matter what your lot in life is, you still should be treated with respect. And that's what I did here. I treated people that were reluctant to talk with respect, and it works. But you have to keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And there are a lot of things working against us in Andrew's case. But not anymore. We can finally say, without a shadow of a doubt, that this case is being worked actively. I spoke to a family member over the phone during the weekend, and that officer spoke with the family, let them know that this is an active, workable investigation, and they're going through the motions. Now, what does that mean? That means we got to let them do their job, because that's what we wanted. There was nobody, when we took this case on 4 months ago, there was nobody working Andrew's case. Nobody. Nobody cared. Let me rephrase that. People did care. There were people that cared. There were friends that were his friends that cared. There were people that loved Andrew that cared. And we kept getting a barrage of just a false narrative that wasn't true. And we kept at it and kept at it and kept at it. And like all of our cases, we work. It's a grind. I mean, it's a cliche, but it is. It's a grind to keep talking to people and saying, hey, listen, I'll do 30,000 videos a day, a week, if I can get one person to tell me one thing that could help break this case wide open, or get law enforcement to actually look at it as a legit case. And we have an Andrews case. And I'm grateful that this is a huge step. It's a step in the right direction, and now we have to let them do their due diligence. We have to give them the space they need to work this case. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And what that means is, as long as they're doing their job, and we have no reason to believe they're not doing their job, as long as they're doing their job, we're going to get the answers to to Andrew's case, and hopefully Chris's case too. But in this regard, in Andrew's case, we're going to get the results that we need to not only bring him home, but hopefully put the monsters are responsible for what happened to Andrew behind bars, and maybe under the jail as well. But I'm grateful, I'm humbled that we've gotten this far, and it's important. Finally, before we wrap things up, I'm a very passionate individual about missing persons. It has become my life, and I get upset when I feel that a missing person is being disrespected, or a family is being disrespected. And I came out with a video on Facebook that was a little rough around the edges, and maybe I wasn't showing myself in a professional light. And I'm not going to promise that it'll never happen again. With me, it's what you see is what you get. I care. I care a lot. And I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing because I might have gotten an issue on YouTube, or it might, look, it might not be a good look. Listen, I'm a human being, and a compassionate human being at that. And if I see wrong, if I see injustice, if I see something that doesn't pass the eye test or the smell test, I'm going to call it out for what it is. Now, I can go about it in a way that it doesn't detract people, and I don't want to detract people. But at the end of the day, I have to make sure that I do it that doesn't turn people off, that people will listen. I do have a platform, and I have to be respectful and responsible with that platform, so I can continue doing, something I love to do, and two, helping those that aren't getting the help that they need. So for that, I'm going to apologize. This job is it's a calling. You get podcasters that come on and they'll do podcasts, and you'll get people that'll just do stories. We do it a little bit differently. I'm not saying we do it better or worse. We just do it differently. I come on, we humanize the story. We show the human side of it, because it's not just a story. There's people behind the scenes that are hurting, that are really just living hell, and they need all the help they can get, whether it's spiritual help, whether it's guidance, whether it's just us taking the lead for a little while, or tagging us in, let us run with it for a while and see what we can do. And there's a lot of people out there that are and recently that have had issues, and they don't trust people like me to do what it is that we do, and that's okay, because hopefully our actions and our deeds speak for themselves. And I want to thank the family members who've trusted us in this short amount of time to help information about their loved one. And I am going to move forward with that trust, and with the commitment that we are going to keep doing it the way we're doing it, and and we get a lot of positive remarks from families, several in particular that are very, very kind, and I want to thank you all for that. But I don't consider what we do heroic. I consider what we do, it's a necessity, because there's not enough people doing it, and there needs to be more doing it. And I know this is where I report the news, but again, I can't stop being what I am. I am an investigative journalist when I look into the missing, but I'm also a compassionate human being that sometimes goes on a monologue or a soapbox and lets you guys know how I feel. So that way, that person out there who's been snowed, who's been taken advantage of, knows that there are people out there that aren't looking for fame, fortune, nothing. They're just looking to do one thing, and that's help find your loved one, get the information out there about your loved one so that you can get the answers you need, the truth that's out there, and hopefully it brings your loved one home. On that note, I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Grimm Media News. We are the media for the missing, and if you have any information on any of the cases that have been brought to you in this episode, please call law enforcement. You can email me, Grimm Truth, stevestone@thegrimmtruth.com. If you want to hit me up on Messenger, that's @the Grimm Truth, and we'll be happy to get that information out to the proper authorities. One last thing. If you or someone you know has a missing loved one or a person, this case you might want profiled on the Grimm Truth Podcast or on YouTube, please go to www.thegrimmtruth.com, and on that page, go down to the very bottom on the front page, and you're going to see a link. That's to our Airtable database where you can forward us information on the case, and we're more than happy to contact the people involved and get the profile in your case. Again, thank you so much for watching this episode. We are the media for the missing. God bless.